The sky above was dark purple, lit by two blue moons. The market was noisy. Creatures of all shapes and sizes walked around, shouting in different languages. The air smelled like fire and metal. Illyra stood on the auction block, her hands in chains, her face covered with dirt. She was the only human in the market. Her brown eyes were filled with anger, not fear. Around her, people stared, laughed, and pointed. Human pet. One alien shouted, "Last of her kind." Another one said, "Look at her eyes, so much fire in them." "She break easily," someone whispered, but Illyra didn't move. She stood straight, tall. She was not a pet, not a slave. She was human, and she would never forget that. The alien auctioneer, a fat green creature with 4 arms, raised his voice. "This human female, strong, smart, clean bloodline. Opening bid 5,000 credits." Voices shouted numbers. The price went up quickly. Illyra closed her eyes. She didn't care who bought her. Nothing worse could happen now. Her planet was gone. Her people were dead. This was just another prison. But then she heard a quiet voice from the back of the crowd. 10,000! Everyone turned. A tall, dark figure walked forward. He wore a long black coat, silver symbols on the chest. His skin was pale blue, and his eyes glowed softly golden, not red like the others. The crowd went silent. The auctioneer blinked. "Oh, Lord Kale, sir, are you sure? This is just a human—" Kale didn't reply. He looked at Illyra with calm, cold eyes. "I'll take her." Later, in his spaceship, Illyra sat inside a glass room. Her hands were still in chains. Kale stood outside, watching her through the glass. "You don't have to treat me like a pet," she said sharply. "You are not a pet," Kale said softly. "Then take off the chains." "No, not yet." Illyra laughed. "So I'm a slave." "Then, good to know." Kale didn't answer. He just looked at her like he was trying to understand something. "You're different," he said finally. She rolled her eyes. "Yeah, I'm human, I get it. Rare and dangerous." "No, you're different from the other humans I've seen." "You've seen others?" Her voice cracked a little. Kale paused. "Long ago." Illyra leaned back against the wall. "Well, they're gone now. All gone. Burned planets. Dead colonies. You people did a great job?" Kale looked at her for a long moment. Then he spoke. "I didn't join the war. I was only a child then." Silence. She looked at him again. His face was calm, but his eyes looked like they carried too. "Many memories. You bought me?" "Why?" she asked. Kale turned away. "I don't think you'll believe the answer." "Try me." He looked over his shoulder. "Because I heard your voice. In my mind." Illyra blinked. "What?" "I heard you before I saw you, in the market. You were shouting, but not with your mouth." "That's impossible," she said. "I don't have powers." "Then explain this." He pressed a button. A recording played. It was her voice, yelling inside his mind, crystal clear. Illyra backed away. "I didn't do that. I couldn't." Kale walked closer to the glass. "There's something inside you, Illyra. Something hidden. Maybe even forgotten. But it's real." Illyra shook her head. "No, I'm just a normal human, a girl from Earth. Earth is gone. But you are not. That means something." That night, Illyra couldn't sleep. She sat in the corner of her room, hugging her knees. Her mind was spinning. Why did he hear her voice? Why did he say she was different? And what was that strange feeling she got when she looked into his eyes? Like her heart skipped a beat? She closed her eyes and tried to rest. Suddenly she felt cold. The room was dark. The door was unlocked. She stepped outside slowly, looking around. No guards, no alarms. Only silence. Her feet moved on their own. She walked down the hallway, drawn by something she couldn't explain. Finally, she stopped at a door. Kale's room. She raised her hand to knock, but didn't. Then the door opened on its own. Kale stood inside, surprised. "Illyra?" She opened her mouth to speak, but no words came. Her body moved forward like something pulled her in. She sat down on the edge of the bed. "I don't know why I'm here," she whispered. Kale looked at her quietly. Then he sat beside her. Neither of them spoke after a while. Illyra leaned against him, not because she had to, but because something in her heart told It was okay. Asterisk lir woke up with a strange feeling in her chest. Her head was heavy, like she had been dreaming too deeply. But she didn't remember the dream. She sat up and looked around. The bed was soft, the room was quiet and warm. A golden light came in through the round window. This wasn't her cage, this was Kale's room. She stood up quickly. Why had she come here? What had she done? Her hand touched her chest. Her heart was beating fast. Something had happened. Something more than she could understand. Kale walked in, holding 2 cups. He paused when he saw her standing. You're awake, he said simply. I didn't mean to stay, she said. Her voice was shaky. I know, he replied. He handed her a cup. She didn't take it. What did you do to me? She asked. Kale didn't answer right away. He sat down on a chair near the wall. Elira, do you ever hear voices in your mind? Her eyes narrowed. No, I'm not crazy. I didn't say you were. But some voices don't come from madness. They come from power. She frowned. You mean like telepathy? Kale nodded. That's not real. Kale raised one eyebrow. Then explain what happened last night. She opened her mouth to argue, but stopped. She couldn't explain it. She had walked to his room like something had called her. Not his voice, but something deeper. Inside her own mind, Kale stood and stepped closer. I want to try something. Just once. No, she said. It won't hurt, I promise. I said no. But then, before she could move, Kale reached out and lightly touched her forehead with 2 fingers. Elira froze. Her breath caught. Suddenly, her world changed. She wasn't in the room anymore. She was floating in a black space. Stars shone all around her. She saw Earth, blue and bright, spinning slowly. Then she saw flames wars, cities burning, humans screaming, ships flying above, dropping fire. Then she saw her own face, but it wasn't her. This Elira wore silver armor, eyes glowing red. She held a weapon that pulsed with light. Then Kale's voice echoed in her head. This was you? In another time. Lies, she whispered, but deep inside it didn't feel like a lie. It felt like a lost memory. Then she fell back into her body, gasping for breath. Kale stepped back, his hand at his side. What was that? She whispered. You have a block in your mind, Kale said. Someone hid your past. Your power. That wasn't real. Yes, it was. Elira dropped to her knees. Her head hurt. Her heart hurt more. I'm just a girl from Earth, she said, shaking. No, Kale said softly. You're something much more. Later that day, Elira sat alone in her new room. No chains now. No glass walls. Kale had given her space and silence. But silence was worse. Her mind was full of images. Fire, war, herself in armor. Her voice shouting commands. Why would she see those things? How could they be real? She touched her temples. The pain was still there, deep in her skull. Then she heard it, a voice, quiet, inside her mind. Protocol locked, awaiting command. She froze. What command? She whispered aloud. No answer. She stood up, breathing fast. Kale! She shouted, running into the hallway. He came out of a side room. Calm as always. There's something wrong with me, she said. There's a voice. It's talking in my head. Kale walked to her, serious now. What did it say? Protocol. Locked, awaiting command. What does that mean? Kale looked down. It means the stories were true. The humans didn't just fight in the war, they were designed for it. Designed? He nodded. Some of you were changed, enhanced. Not all humans. Just a few secret weapons. They were hidden among normal people. You were one of them. Elira shook her head. No, I had a mother, a family, a normal life. Kale placed a hand on her shoulder. They may not have known. You may not have known. But the code is in your blood. In your brain. Elira stepped back. Then what am I? A machine? Kale looked into her eyes. No, you're not a machine. You're still human. But you're also something new, something powerful. Tears formed in Elira's eyes. I didn't ask for this. I know, Kale said. But now you have to decide what to do with it. That night, Elira stood in front of a mirror. She looked at her reflection. Same eyes. Same face, but she didn't feel like herself anymore. She heard the voice again. Protocol. Ready? And for the first time, she replied in her mind, not yet. She walked to her bed, curled up in the corner, and tried to sleep. But deep down, she knew ... her real story was just beginning. The hallway was quiet, but Alira could hear her own heart beating like a drum. Kale walked ahead of her, not saying a word. She followed him, barefoot, unsure of where he was taking her. Where are we going? She asked. Kale didn't stop. To? The place where the truth begins? That didn't help. Alira wanted to scream. Her whole life was falling apart. She had memories that weren't hers, powers she couldn't control. And now, voices inside her mind whispering about protocols and commands. Finally, Kale stopped in front of a heavy metal door. It looked older than the rest of the ship. There were scratch marks on it, deep ones, like someone had tried to claw their way out. Kale pressed his hand to a panel. The door slid open with a hiss. Inside, the room was cold, white, and filled with strange machines. It didn't look like part of a spaceship. It looked like a lab, an old one, forgotten by time. Alira stepped in slowly. The lights flickered. What is this place? Kale stood by a screen. This was once a testing chamber, for your kind. She frowned. My kind? He nodded. Humans. Not all of you, just the ones they modified. Alira felt cold inside. Modified? You mean experimented on? Kale turned to her. Your planet's leaders made deals with alien factions. To protect Earth, they allowed secret genetic programs. Children were chosen, changed. You were one of them. No, Alira whispered. You're lying. Kale pressed a button. The screen lit up. A video played, grainy and old. A small girl sat in a glass pod. Tubes connected to her arms. She screamed as blue light surrounded her. Lir gasped. The child had her face. That was her. She stumbled back. Her legs weak. Her back hit the wall. That's not me. It is, Kale said gently. She fell to her knees. I don't remember. I never knew. They wiped your memory. Sent you to live a normal life. Until they needed you. I don't want to be a weapon. Kale nodded. You don't have to be. Minutes later, Alira sat in a chair in the center of the lab. Kale was attaching sensors to her arms. Just relax, he said. We're going to scan your neural patterns. Try to see what's still inside you. Alira closed her eyes. A soft humming sound filled the room. The machine lit up with green lights. Her skin tingled, then flashes in her mind. She was running. Through a dark hallway, soldiers behind her. She leapt over a wall, kicked one of them in the chest. Her body moved faster than any normal human. Then she fired a strange gun. It didn't shoot bullets. It bent light. Her eyes opened. I saw something. Kale looked at the screen. Your combat memories. Still there. I don't know how to fight, but your body does. Suddenly, the machine beeped. Kale's eyes narrowed. Wait, something's wrong. What is it? There's, another signal inside you? Then the voice came again. Secondary protocol activating. Preparing host for evolution. Alira screamed. Her back arched. Her skin burned. Turn it off, she shouted. Kale ran to the console, typing quickly. Alira's hands glowed with blue light. Sparks flew from her fingertips. She fell to the ground, shaking. Then it stopped. Silence. Kale rushed to her side. Are you okay? Alira opened her eyes slowly. They were glowing faintly blue. I felt it. Like another me inside, stronger. Colder. That's the fail-safe, Kale said. If you ever lost control, the second version of you would take over. A backup version of me? Kale nodded. One that doesn't hesitate, one that only follows orders. I don't want that version, she whispered. You still have time, Kale said. We can stop it. But you need to learn control. Alira sat up, her breathing shaky. Her body still tingled. Who did this to me? Kale was silent. Then he showed her a file on the screen. A name appeared. Project Fireseed Code. E9 Ara, Alira, lead creator. Dr. Velen Rolira stared at the name. I know that name, she said softly. He visited our town once. Said he was a doctor helping refugees. My mom cooked him dinner. He wasn't helping, Kale said. He was checking on you. Illyra's hands curled into fists. I want to find him. We will, Kale promised. But first you must be ready. Illyra stood, looking into the mirror on the wall. Her reflection looked the same, but something deep inside had changed. I'm not a pet. I'm not a slave, she said. No, Kale said. You're a survivor. Illyra turned to him, eyes sharp. No, I'm a weapon they couldn't control. Illyra sat on the edge of her bed, holding her head in her hands. The lab was quiet now. Kale had locked it after the last test. She was alone, but not really. Something inside her had woken. Up, kill the host, the voice whispered again. Activate, complete the mission, she shook her head hard. I won't, I'm not a machine. But the voice didn't stop. It was calm, cold, like it had no feelings at all. Primary target, Kale of House, Thorin, eliminate. She stood up quickly and stumbled toward the wall. Her breathing was heavy, her hands were shaking. No, I won't hurt him. An hour passed. Kale didn't come. Illyra walked through the ship's hallway. The lights flickered overhead. Her steps were slow, careful. She stopped at Kale's door. Her fist hovered near the panel. She hesitated, then pressed it. The door slid open with a soft click. Kale stood inside, back turned, typing something into a screen. He didn't notice her at first. Then he turned. Illyra? He said gently. Are you okay? She didn't answer. Her eyes locked on him. Her hand reached behind her back, gripping something cold, a blade. She had found it earlier in the lab. Thin, sharp, easy to hide, her fingers tightened around it. She stepped forward slowly. Her voice sounded strange, flat. I need answers, Kale. He nodded. Of course. What do you want to know? What happens if I don't obey the voice in my head? Kale looked at her carefully. It might try to force control, but I think you're strong enough to resist. What if I'm not? Kale took a step toward her. Then I'll help you fight it. Illyra's breathing changed. The voice was louder now. Strike now. Do not hesitate. She screamed inside her own head. No! Her body moved. She lunged forward, blade raised. But at the last second she stopped. The blade trembled in her hand. Inches from Kale's chest, his eyes didn't flinch. He just looked at her. I'm not going to stop you, he said. If this is what you are, then do it. Her hand dropped the blade. It hit the floor with a soft clang. She stepped back, shaking. I almost did it. I couldn't stop my body. It's taking over. Kale gently reached for her shoulder, but she stepped away. I have to leave, she said quickly. I'm not safe here. Not around you. You're not safe out there either. I don't care. Kale nodded slowly. If you go, take this. He handed her a small black cube. What is it? She asked. A memory key. It has information about Project Fireseed. About the others? Others? You weren't the only one, Illyra. There were 12 of you. Her heart dropped. Where are they? I don't know, Kale said. But someone out there does. That night, Illyra crept through the ship, heading to the shuttle bay. The door hissed open. She stepped inside and powered up the small escape. Ship, lights blinked on. Engines hummed. Kale hadn't followed her. He had let her go. She felt empty. The stars looked endless as the ship flew silently through space. Illyra sat alone, knees pulled to her chest. Her head rested on the wall. She should have felt free, but all she felt was broken. I almost killed the only person who's tried to help me, she whispered, because he is your target. The voice replied, Shut up, she snapped. He is manipulating you. Emotions are weakness, she screamed, hitting the control panel. I'm not your weapon. Suddenly, alarms blared. A ship appeared on the radar. It was fast, too fast. It fired. Her shuttle shook violently. Sparks flew. The engine warning lights flashed red. Illyra grabbed the controls and tried to steer. But the ship was spinning. They hit her again. Then a voice came through the radio, one she didn't expect. Illyra, it's Kale. Let me dock you before they finish the job. Her heart stopped. Kale? I followed you. I knew you'd run. But I also knew they'd come for you. Who are they? Bounty hunters, paid by the people who built you. Before she could answer, Kale's ship locked onto hers and pulled her in. Moments later, the airlock opened. Kale reached out his hand. Come on. She grabbed it. Back inside, Illyra fell to her knees, coughing. You came for me, she whispered. Of course I did. I could have killed you, but you didn't. She looked up at him, her face full of pain. Why are you helping me? Kale knelt beside her. Because I believe in what you really are and not what they made you. She broke into tears. I'm so tired, Kale. I know, he whispered. But we're not done yet. Later, Illyra stood by the window, watching the stars. Behind her, Kale repaired the controls. I'm not running anymore, she said. He nodded. Good. Then we plan. For what? For finding the others. And burning down the system. That made you? Illyra smiled faintly. No more cages. No more control? Kale looked at her with quiet pride. No more pets. Illyra stood in front of the mirror again. Same brown eyes. Same scar on her neck. Same face, but the girl staring back at her didn't feel like her anymore. She touched the glass and whispered, Who am I? Inside her mind, the voice returned stronger. Now colder. You are Cody 9 Ara, Elite Unit. Stand by for next mission. She closed her eyes tightly. No, I'm Illyra, a person. Not a code. The voice paused. Then something strange happened. A second voice whispered, softer, more human. You sure? Her eyes snapped open. That wasn't the system voice. That sounded like her, but not her. Kale worked at the ship's control panel, scrolling through files on the memory cube. Charts, names, genetic codes. His screen was full of secrets. Illyra sat across from him, silent, watching his hands. Finally, she spoke. Something's changed. Kale glanced up. More visions? She shook her head. It's not just visions. There's someone else inside me. Still the protocol AI? No, this one is different. It's not a command voice, it's like... She hesitated. It's like another version of me. She speaks like me. Thinks like me? But she's colder, stronger. Kale stood up slowly. That could be your split core. My what? He turned the screen toward her. A diagram showed a human brain with 2 separate energy signatures. Some of the fireseed units were built with 2 minds, a dominant personality and a hidden one. The second version only awakens under pressure. Or fear, like when I almost killed you, she said. He nodded. That version was waking up. Illyra looked down at her hands. What if she takes over? Kale stepped closer. Then we fight to bring you back. That night, Illyra wandered the ship alone. She stopped at the lab, then the training room. Her body remembered how to move now, punches, flips, fast reactions. She didn't train to learn. She trained to remember, but no matter how fast her fists moved, she couldn't escape the voice inside. Why are you still fighting me? It said, I don't want to become you. You already are me. I'm just the part of you that isn't afraid. Illyra growled. You're the part that kills and survives? Then another voice came through the ship's CUM system. Unregistered vessel. Stand down and prepare for boarding. Kale's voice shouted through the speaker. Illyra, get to the cockpit now. She ran fast, heart racing. Kale was already at the controls. The radar showed a sleek silver ship locking onto them. Another bounty hunter? She asked. Kale shook his head. No, that ship. It's Fireseed. Tech. Illyra's blood went cold. One of the others? Before Kale could answer, the ship sent a transmission. A young man's face appeared on the screen. Pale skin, silver eyes. His voice was flat. Unit E9 Aura, respond, confirm identity. Illyra stepped forward. I'm not your unit. The man tilted his head. Yes, you are. I mean 9RB. You're my sister. Her heart stopped. Sister? He nodded. We were born in the same lab. Trained in the same simulations. I've come to bring you home. Kale cut in. She's not going with you. The man didn't even blink. You're the protector? The traitor? We were told about you. I'm not her protector, Kale said. She's protecting me. The man looked back at Illyra. Your program is unstable. Your mind is splitting. If you wait too long, she take over fully. I can help. Illyra narrowed her eyes. Why would you help me? Because if you lose control, the protocol will kill you. And I don't want to lose my only family. She looked at Kale. He's lying, right? Kale didn't answer. His jaw was tight. The man continued. You don't have to trust me, just come with me. We'll fix you, together. Illyra's fingers gripped the console, then the voice inside whispered, He's telling the truth. I can feel it. Don't trust him, Illyra thought back. He wants to control us. The voice answered, So do you. Her head throbbed. Kale whispered, Illyra? She turned toward the screen. If I go with you, do I stay Illyra? The man paused. No, you become complete. Illyra stared at his eyes, cold, empty. She made her decision. I'm not ready to be complete. She shut the screen off. The enemy ship opened fire. Kale hit the thrusters. Hold on! The ship shook as they dove into an asteroid belt. Lasers flew past them. Illyra jumped into the gunner seat and fired back. You've done this before? Kale asked. No, she shouted, but it feels natural. They dodged between rocks. The enemy followed fast. Then Illyra had an idea. Kale, fly straight toward that big one. Are you sure? Yes, trust me. At the last moment, she fired a blast at the rock ahead. It shattered. Their ship flew through. The enemy tried to follow, but crashed into the debris. Explosion. Silence. Later. They sat in the dark, catching their breath. You saved us, Kale said. No, Illyra replied. We saved us. Kale frowned. What do you mean? She tapped her temple. The other me. She helped. Kale was quiet. Illyra whispered, Maybe I don't need to destroy her. He looked at her. You're thinking of merging. She's not just a weapon. She's me. I just need to stay in control. Kale nodded slowly. Then she looked out the window again. Somewhere out there. The other fireseed units were waiting. And now they knew she was awake. Asterisk. The stars outside the ship were calm, but inside, a storm was rising. Illyra stood in the hallway, staring at the metal floor. Her hands were clenched into fists, her breathing uneven. Kale had gone silent ever since the battle. He was in the engine room, fixing the damage. But Illyra wasn't thinking about the ship. She was thinking about her brother. Unit E9RB, he had called her family, and maybe in some twisted way he was right, but she didn't trust him. His eyes held no soul. His words were empty. Still, she couldn't shake the truth. She and Kale couldn't run forever. They'll come again, she whispered. And next time, he won't come alone. The voice inside her replied, calm and sharp. Then don't. Run. Fight. Illyra walked into the control room. Kale, she said, her voice firm. We need to end this. Kale turned, wiping oil from his hands. What do you mean? I want to find them. The people who built me, the ones still running Fireseed. Kale's eyes darkened. That's suicide. No, she said, it's justice. 2 hours later, Kale handed her a datapad. This transmission was sent from a deep space facility 2 days ago. Hidden signals encrypted in Fireseed code. I think it's their base. Illyra scanned the coordinates. How long to get there? 3 hours at full speed. She nodded. Then we go now. Kale looked at her. You're sure? Yes, this ends tonight. The ship dropped out of warp near a dark moon, floating beside it, a massive gray space station. It looked abandoned. No lights, no movement, but Illyra felt something. She felt eyes watching as they neared the docking bay. A voice crackled over the comms. Illyra, we were expecting you. It was E9RB. Kale frowned. How? I left the memory key active, Illyra said. I wanted them to find me. Kale stared at her. You set a trap, she nodded, but not for them. For me, inside the station, the air was cold. Illyra walked beside Kale through silent metal halls. Lights flickered. Shadows moved. They passed. Cryopods empty, testing rooms broken, child-sized chairs and scattered tools. This was a lab once. A prison for minds like hers. Finally, they reached the main chamber. A glass floor showed a glowing core beneath. And standing in the center E9RB, he looked exactly the same. Calm, pale, empty. You came, he said. I hoped you would. Illyra stepped forward. This ends now. Yes, he said, but not how you think. Suddenly, 10 figures stepped from the shadows. All of them were like her, fireseed units, some older, some younger. All deadly. Lir. Glanced at Kale, he stood ready, but outnumbered. Then E9RB spoke again. You're not our enemy, Illyra, you're our queen. She froze. What? You are the original. The first successful unit. We were made from you. Your DNA, your strength, your mind. Kale whispered. That's why they want you back. You're the source, E9RB nodded. Join us. Lead us. We can burn the galaxy clean. No more cages, no more masters. Illyra looked at the others. Their faces were blank, waiting, like machines with hearts locked away. Then she heard her own voice inside her head. This is what I was made for. No, she answered. This is what they want. She took a deep breath and stepped forward. I won't lead killers. I won't be your weapon, E9RB frowned. Then you're a threat. He raised his hand, the others moved. Everything happened. Fast, Kale threw a smoke bomb and dragged Illyra behind cover. She fired a stun blast, knocking one unit back, but they were too many. Kale was hit in the side. He fell, blood on his hands. Kale! She screamed. He looked at her, barely able to speak. Run? No, she said, not this time. Then something inside her broke open. Not pain. Power. Her body lit up with blue light. Her eyes burned. Like fire, the second voice inside her didn't speak this time. It merged. Illyra stood up slowly. Glowing, calm, the other units froze. She walked forward, unafraid. Stop, she said. They hesitated. Her voice changed. It was hers, but stronger. Deeper, I said. Stop. The others dropped their weapons. Even E9RB looked unsure. You're not their leader anymore, she said. You're just another copy, he growled. I was trying to save us. No, you were trying to become what they wanted? She raised her hand. A wave of energy pushed him back, slammed him into the wall. He didn't move again. The others knelt. Lia. Didn't ask them to. They did it because they felt her will. Later. She carried Kale to the ship. His breathing was weak. You saved me, he whispered. She nodded, tears in her eyes. No. We saved each other. The ship launched into space. Behind them. The fireseed station exploded. She had set it to self-destruct. The others had chosen to stay behind. Not to die, but to end what they were. She watched the fire from the window. No more labs. No more chains. Kale lay in the medbed. Sleeping, Illyra sat beside him. The galaxy was wide again. But now, she was finally free. Not a pet, not a slave, not even a weapon, just human. By choice. The stars outside were calm. The war, the chase, the voices, they were all behind her now. Illyra sat quietly in the ship's lounge. A soft blanket wrapped around her shoulders. Her body was healing, but her heart was still unsure. Kale was resting. In the medbay. His wounds were deep, but stable. Every few minutes she checked the screen to watch his vitals. His heart was strong, his mind was calm. He had survived for her. She looked down at her hands. No glow, no shaking. No voice. Silence. For the first time in her life, the silence didn't feel empty. It felt earned. She stood and walked to the window. The galaxy stretched out before her, endless and unknown. Somewhere out there, stars were being born. Worlds were spinning peacefully. People were living without knowing her name, without fearing her strength. And she liked it that way. She wasn't a story anymore. She was a person again. Later that day, Kale opened his eyes. The lights above him were soft and white. He blinked. You're safe, Illyra said, appearing beside him. Her smile was gentle, real. You saved me, he whispered. Again, she smirked. We're getting good at that, Kale laughed weakly. Then his face turned serious. The others? The station? Gone, she said. They chose to end it? I gave them that choice? He nodded slowly. You gave me a choice too, she added, back when you didn't fight me. When I tried to kill you, Kale looked into her eyes. You were never meant to be a killer, Illyra. No, she said softly. But I was trained to be one. And you chose not to be. That's why I'm still me. For the next 2 days, they drifted quietly through space. Kale recovered. Though he walked with a limp now, Illyra spent most of her time in the library room reading old star charts, scanning reports, learning about the world beyond war. She wasn't running anymore. But she wasn't rushing either. One night, Kale found her asleep in a chair. A book in her lap. He covered her with a soft coat and smiled. She looked peaceful, not like a weapon, like a girl who'd finally come home on the third day. The ship reached a green planet surrounded by rings of gold dust. No cities, no signals. Just wild nature. Kale spoke from the cockpit. We can land here for a while, recharge, heal. Illyra nodded. Looks peaceful. They touched down in a valley full of trees and light. Birds flew overhead. Illyra stepped onto the grass. Her boots sank softly into the soil. For the first time in years, she felt sun on her skin. No gunfire. No alarms. Just wind. They built a camp near a river. Simple tools. A small tent. Kale cooked over fire. Illyra explored the woods, picking fruit and laughing when she found a wild animal with 4 tails. She named it Noodle. It followed her everywhere. Kale chuckled. You've made a friend. I think he thinks I'm his pet. Kale raised an eyebrow. How the tables have turned. She laughed. That night they sat by the fire, wrapped in blankets. The stars above were bright, sharp, and close. Illyra looked up, thinking, do you think I'll ever be normal? She asked. Kale looked at her gently. Do you want to be? She paused. I don't know. I just want to be me. You already are? She looked at him. Do you really believe that? I do. She leaned against him, not because she had to, but because she wanted to. Hours passed. The fire burned low. Kale looked at her. What now? What do you want to do? Illyra thought for a while. Maybe help others like me, she said. The ones who didn't get to choose. That won't be easy. I don't need easy, she replied. I need real, he nodded. And you? She asked. I go where? You go, he said. She smiled. Simple words. Honest heart. The next morning, Illyra stood at the top of a hill. Wind blowing through her hair. The ship sat below, ready. The world was behind her. The stars ahead. She took one last deep breath and whispered, I'm not a pet, not a slave, not a weapon. She smiled. I'm human. And that's enough. She turned, walking back toward the ship. Where Kale waited. A new journey was beginning, not one forced on her, one she chose.